Greetings, my dear truth seekers. I am sure that many of my subscribers have at least heard vaguely about another impending US government default on its debt. And many experts, including some US officials, have even indicated the deadline for this default: June 2023. Such speculations occur regularly, so I think it is necessary to analyze what is really happening. The previous limit on the national debt of $31.4 trillion was reached in January. The huge expenditures of the US state budget do not allow the government to balance the Treasury in the absence of new borrowings. United States Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen, warned Congress that if it refuses to raise the debt ceiling, default could come as early as June. Perhaps it will happen on June 1st, Janet Yellen said. Judging by the statement of the US Treasury Secretary, her competence can be questioned, since she could not even name the exact date when the Treasury will not be able to pay off its obligations. In April, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives offered its own solution to the problem. Namely, to increase the national debt limit by $1.5 trillion in exchange for a large-scale reduction in US budget spending. Republicans want to cancel many of the Democrats' programs like debt cancellation for students, health insurance, and tax breaks for green energy. According to Republicans, an increase in the limit by $1.5 trillion will secure the system for almost a year, and the risk of default can be avoided until March 31, 2024. Obviously, on the part of the Republicans, this is a purely political move, the purpose of which is to gain electoral points. At the start of the election campaign, this is quite understandable. On May 9, Joe Biden even met with Republicans and tried to convince them to compromise. However, the US president not only failed to achieve anything at this meeting, but also uttered another strange phrase. "We're not gonna end, we're not gonna increase the debt every president has done for the past 6 million years, Joe Biden said. Yes, don't laugh, this is a real quote from the US president. In principle, I would not pay much attention to this quote. Surely, Biden once again messed up everything, and instead of saying that the Democrats intend to increase the level of government debt, he said the exact opposite. Meanwhile, the head of the US Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, said that it cannot be assumed that in the event of a default of the American economy, the regulator will help it. That is, Jerome Powell made it clear that the Fed does not intend to turn on the printing press. And, in principle, such a statement by the head of the Fed is logical. After all, even a small emission can instantly disperse inflation. So, what will happen in case of a protracted default? The US GDP will fall by 6.1%, unemployment will rise by 5%, and the number of jobs will decrease by 8.3 million. In case of a short-term default, GDP will fall by 0.6%, and the number of jobs will be reduced by 500,000. Even though the crises phenomena in the American economy are obvious, I would not expect any default. Everything that is happening now in the United States is a purely political show played by Republicans and Democrats. Although the level of degradation of political elites in the West has reached such a high level that it is also impossible to exclude the admission of default for the sake of solving their domestic political tasks. The American economy and the global dollar system are gradually declining, which is perfectly confirmed by statistics on both dollar calculations and dollar reserves. Expecting an instant collapse of the American economy is not worth it. The dollar, along with the American economy, has already crossed the line of no return and is gradually heading for its collapse. However, this process will take 5-7 years. Therefore, when you hear again that the United States will face default in 2023, do not believe it.